Hey, this is Bill Mosley. I'm Chop Top, I'm Otis, I'm Luigi Largo, and Johnny from Night of the Living Dead, and you're listening to the Horror Squad Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 334, where tonight we are going to be talking about the life and career of George A. Romero in our very special retrospective episode. I'm here as always with Steve and Todd. Gentlemen, we just came back from an amazing weekend. How you doing?
I'm tired, but I'm good. It was awesome. Yeah, absolutely fantastic weekend. I mean, all around. I don't. There's so many stories from the weekend. I don't even know where to start. But just want to thank everyone who came, all the listeners who came. It was just an absolute blast to hang out with everyone. Of course, hanging out with you guys was also a pleasure. And yeah, and just all the stuff we did that has to do with like Monroeville and Evans City is just crazy, but we'll talk about that. Todd, how was your weekend for you?
It was all right. I mean, no, it was great. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. The con, it's not my favorite, but it definitely was awesome with you guys, plus everyone else is with us, man. We had fucking great time eating, had some drinks, Living Dead weekend, the Living Dead fucking museum, the cemetery for Night of the Living Dead. List goes on and on. I had a great time. I had a blast, and I'm bummed that it's done. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Thank you so much to everyone that did decide to join us. We appreciate you. We had a blast with you. Yeah, I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, quite the weekend. Being able to step foot in the Dawn of the Dead Mall was awesome. We did the tour. It was like a 3-hour tour. Saw everything that you possibly could see to do with the movie. I think the coolest parts, obviously, were the behind the scenes stuff we got to see. We got to see the control room, which still looks identical. Because obviously the mall has changed so much. Like, when you set the columns are the exactly look the same, but everything else looks nothing like it did during the movie. But the back room stuff looked exactly the same. The boiler room area that Roger and Peter sort of fight a zombie in, and then the control room, and then of course the
Wrong,
stairwell.
wrong, wrong, wrong.
Huh?
Flyboy
What?
fights a zombie in the boiler room.
I'm sorry,
Get
Flyboy
out of
fights
here.
a zombie. Sorry.
Why are you
Yeah, there you go.
recapping the movie? It's our
You
favorite
guys,
movie.
it is your favorite movie. And then the stairwell, of course, that leads to the hideout, as well, is pretty much unchanged as well. So those were definitely the highlights of the tour. There was some other stuff, behind the scenes and stuff. There was some other stuff outside and stuff that looked similar, rock walls and stuff like that. But yeah, really, really awesome experience. We also went to the Night of the Living Dead cemetery, which obviously was really cool. Just a small little, cemetery, but just awesome to find the locations for that. Todd played Night of the Living Dead while we were in the cemetery, so that was really, really cool and special. And then we made our way over to the Creep Show house from the original Creep Show, just a few minutes away from, of course, the Dawn of the Dead Mall. Interestingly enough, behind the Creep Show house, or behind the neighborhood, is the mall or I'm sorry, the airport for Dawn of the Dead that unfortunately is destroyed. They're currently building condos on it, but that is kind of an interesting little tidbit as well. Yeah, I mean, seeing George Romero's bust in the mall was really cool as well. We also got to sit on a screen used bike, a screen used motorcycle that the Raiders used in the movie. So that was really cool. We posted a picture. I just posted a picture today over on our Instagram, so you can see that. And I edited the pictures not well, but semi okay, to make it look like we were one of the Raiders in the scenes of the movie. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm missing anything else. That's pretty
There
much
is.
everything we did. Oh, all right.
Yeah, we also went to the Living Dead Museum.
That's right.
So we got to see some like actual props from of various films. I mean, obviously, not Dawn of the Dead. There was the original elevator, which was reconstructed because they destroyed the J.C. Penney from the movie and made a theater essentially on the top floor where that was. So, but they did save it and reconstruct it and had put like a zombie flyboy in it in the museum. Then you have like odes to Land of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, but also like Evil Dead, also like randomly Mindhunter and some other movies like that. So that was just really cool to see, to get to see some real props, and I enjoyed that tremendously. It's only like $8 to see, but if you're a fan of those films, totally worth it. And we did go to a con. We didn't talk about it, but there were 4 halls with celebrities and vendors, and we all got to meet some really great people. I know for me, I met Tom Atkins, got a Halloween 3 signed item, and then I met Fred Decker, the director from Night of the Creeps, who also directed Monster Squad, John Amplis from Day of the Dead, and 2 people from Night of the Living Dead, John Russo, the writer, and also Russ Striner, who was Johnny in the original Night of the Living Dead. And I had a really, really cool moment with him. So I was talking to him about George Romero, and I'd mentioned that I met George Romero in Montreal. He's there because of his in-laws, and I don't know what that triggered in him, but I guess he felt somehow I knew George Romero before he had passed, which I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. But because of that, he's like, "Here, come here." So he made me go behind the table, and he said in my ear, and he pulled out these glasses, and he's like, "George Romero gave me his sunglasses, as part of his will. So would you like to take a picture wearing them?" And that was like just the coolest thing ever, to get to wear George Romero's glasses, and that's a memory I'll definitely personally never forget, as far as the con goes. So, and I picked up some cool art, which I'll show on the Discord as soon as I unpack it. So, what you
So
guys highlights for the
yeah, I was
con?
gonna say, what's your favorite moment? And I know we're all gonna say hanging out with everybody, so we'll just say that's our number one, and we'll move on from that because that was super cool. Um, my favorite thing was the night cemetery, man. Like that's Dawn's my favorite movie, but like you said, the mall's changed so much. It's like it's a shame, but time goes on, whatever. But the night cemetery, it's like stepping back in time, dude. Like you can't really change a graveyard all too much. The chapel is still mostly the same. The gravestones are obviously the same. The only thing that's really changed is you got more paved roads and fresh tombstones, right? But gosh, like we were matching up the movie, like Joe said, we were watching the movie in real time and like matching, oh shit, this is where the zombie was walking. That bush over there used to be like, a foot tall. Now it's 6 feet tall. And it's just cool seeing how everything's changed over the years. Like little trees that were by the chapel are now fucking gigantic. But you can still see like, oh man, this is where they put the camera because the angle shoots that way, and you see through these tombstones. It was just we were geeking out, having a great time, and that was fun. But I do say though, if you go to the cemetery, still respect it. Don't be like hopping on gravestones, leaving your trash, things like that. Those are people's resting places. But other than that, if you ever have opportunity to go, like check it out, man. And then a close second, if I can add one more, is the Creep Show house because I'm not a huge Creep Show guy, but the owners embraced it, right? And they put out some props for fans to use, and like that's so freaking cool, man. Like you hear all these negative stories, hocus pocus, people not embracing it, things like that, and just getting pissed off. Or the Breaking Bad lady, she owns Walter White's house and she hates it and changed it and all that stuff. And for them to, put a jack lantern in the window and put a trash can out and a comic replica, that was just so fucking cool of them, and a super cool moment for all us to have. And yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the exact same thing. That I think the Night of the Living Dead Cemetery was definitely the highlight for me. It was just so cool. Like us like driving up and you can just see that hill, it's iconic, the hill they drive up and driving up the hill and stuff. And then yeah, seeing just like the other all the, finding the location and the chapel and everything. It was just like you said, just it was like nothing has changed really, besides the landscaping and some other stuff. But other than that, everything looks exactly the same. So that was just super, super cool. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the Creature House was like, I think if they didn't have the props out and stuff, it wouldn't have been as memorable to me. But the fact that they embraced it and they even had like a guest book that, they want fans to sign and stuff like that. That is just so awesome that they embrace that. Obviously, the Dawn, seeing the Dawn Mall, awesome as well. But yeah, I would say the highlight is probably the Night of the Living Dead Cemetery for me.
Yeah, I got there a day early from you guys, and I went to dinner with some of the listeners and stuff on the Thursday night, and I drove by the mall like on my own, and I got fucking goosebumps, man, the first time seeing the mall, because the structure itself like looks a lot like it did back then. There were some additions and stuff, but you still very much recognizable when you watch the movie. So that was like a cool moment that kind of personally affected me, I guess. And the night cemetery is fucking awesome. And some of them things you mentioned, Joe, just the tour is really long. I'm not gonna lie. It's not something I'd do again personally.
Too damn
It's
long.
just it's just too, like, the details are a little bit too much. Like, it's like, okay, someone stood here because look at the post, look at the way the markings on the posts are, and we got that same speech probably 50 times. But seeing certain parts were so friggin' cool. Like you said, the boiler room, the control room, the stairwell was just, even though it was packed with like 30 people when I saw it, just knowing, because it's such an iconic part of the movie, to see that was awesome. And just the atmosphere in general, it's a bunch of horror fans that are there, and there are constantly like panels going on in the middle of the mall, which unfortunately had like the worst sound, so we couldn't hear a fucking thing, because we tried to do the Night of the Creeps panel and we couldn't hear, especially Tom Atkins, like could barely hear what he was saying. But just the atmosphere in general was just such a fucking amazing weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely reminded me of like the old school horror con days, because it was like definitely a smaller con in comparison to obviously what cons are like now. But yeah, it was cool. Like even just like the shitty audio quality, I was just like, it just reminded me of something that just kind of was thrown together. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, no, I mean, it was still, I mean, it was a great time. It was so much fun seeing just everything and everybody. I mean, thank you so much to everybody that came out. Thank you to all of you for coming out, having dinner with us, hanging with us all weekend. It was just so much fun, and it's definitely something none of us will forget. And hopefully it's something we can do something other sort of hangout like this in the future. We'll definitely let you guys know. I know you guys are all excited about it. But now we move on to Salem. Don't forget, I know some of you, some of the listeners that went sorry, I know some of the listeners that went to Living Dead Weekend said they'll be in Salem as well. So come and join us, Salem, Massachusetts, October 11th through the 13th. That is our next event, our Hocus Pocus event. It's just a bunch of Halloween.com for all details on that. So we hope to see you there. All right, gentlemen, are we ready?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let's not waste any time and get right into it as we look at the life and career of George A. Romero. George A. Romero, of course, born February 4th, 1940, and passed away July 16th, 2017. Rest in peace, George. Of course, mostly known for his Dead movies, coined as father of the zombie film and also godfather of the dead. So let's do it. Let's get right into it and start with George's very first horror movie, 1968's Night of the Living Dead. A ragtag group of Pennsylvanians barricade themselves in an old farmhouse to remain safe from a horde of flesh-eating ghouls that are ravaging the northeast of the United States. Who would like to start off with their thoughts on George's first horror movie?
That's great.
Thanks, Todd.
It's fantastic. I felt like I was in the movie this weekend, man. It's freaking amazing. No, this is one of those films that I don't care how old it is. I don't care how dated it is. It's amazing. The storytelling is fantastic. You get Ben, played by Dwayne Jones, who's an amazing actor. Barbara, who, you know, her character unfortunately isn't as strong as the remix character, but she still played great by Judith O'Dea. And then you got supporting cast that just kicks ass, man. And the isolation and the dread of these slow fucking corpses just walking in and besieging this little ragtag group in a on a farmhouse, and then you got the inner turmoil of Cooper wanting to be the boss down in the basement, and Ben, I'm the boss up here, motherfucker, get back in the basement. And they're just arguing the whole time. It's great. Fantastic film. And if you haven't seen Night of the Living Dead, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go out right now. It's on Prime, black and white for free. The colored version's on Prime if you hate black and white films, so no excuse. Watch it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is iconic. You know, like that's all you can say about it. It's something that still, 50 plus, 60 plus years later, people are still watching every single Halloween. It's on TV all the time. It single-handedly changed the horror genre. So I mean, it's and for good reason. I mean, it is a really, really good movie, even to this day. I mean, I just rewatched it for this retrospective. It's a movie I hadn't watched in quite a while. And I still think it's fantastic. And I know George says that he didn't like intentionally, like he just cast Dwayne Jones, because he was the best actor for the role. But like to have a lead black actor in the 1960s during like all this racial tension, I think was really important. And I think there is a lot of social commentary in there, even if it wasn't intentionally put in by George. But he goes on to do so much social commentary in his other movies, it's kind of hard not to believe it. But yeah, man, it's such a good movie. So many iconic lines, so many iconic scenes. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I can add to it. Obviously, it's spawned such a huge movement in the horror genre and is extremely important to horror history. But instead of talking to the movie, since both you guys did, I would say it's also worth looking into the behind the scenes of the movie, because not only was it like a very low budget film and they had to do a lot of things, kind of figuring things out using local actors, makeup effects, all that kind of stuff, but it also infamously had like a big copyright issue where basically the film was public domain from its release because of an error on a poster. And it's very fascinating, like that whole process, how they came to grips with it. And despite that big issue, Romero was able to kind of go past it and have a legendary career. It's really cool. And like Todd said, there's no excuse not to watch this one. It's on basically every streaming service, and there's a gazillion companies that make DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS of this film because it is a public domain film, and also why you see it in 90% of the movies that show a horror movie in the background. It'll be this one because of that. So yeah, it's a good movie, man. Like I actually was late to this one. I actually saw the remake before I saw this one originally, but it's still I prefer the remake just because I think Savini fixed some things, and I think George would even agree with that. But you have to respect the original and its place in horror history.
All right, rate it.
That's an easy 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't give it a 5 out of 5, honestly. Like, I think I think there's some problems with it, obviously, but it changed horror history, man. So 5 out of 5.
Well, I didn't rate it 5 out of 5. I actually gave it 4 out of 5 because I don't rate on history. I rate on the movie itself, like my enjoyment of it. And it is obviously an amazing movie, but there are some issues and I just can't overlook them. So it's still like it doesn't diminish it in any way. It's just I give it a 4 out of 5.
Alrighty. All right, let's move on. I want to mention also we are only doing George's horror movies. Obviously, we will not be talking about some of his non-horror movies like the OJ documentary and stuff like that. So sorry to disappoint you guys, but just
No Iron City
horror
ass
for
kickers.
and no, yes, and we'll be skipping Night Riders as well.
What?
Sorry, guys. Maybe another time. All right, so let's move on to 1972 now. George's next horror movie, Season of the Witch, aka Hungry Wives. A neglected, unhappy suburban housewife gets mixed up in witchcraft with unexpected consequences. Yeah, it's like almost 2 hours, so it's definitely like a longer movie. Um And I wouldn't really call it a horror movie per se. Like, yeah, sure. Like, I was actually really excited for this one because it's a witch movie, or a witchy movie. So when I read the synopsis, I got super excited because the witch movies is like right up my alley. The problem is, it's just like it's more just drama than it is horror for the most part. They do like introduce a little bit of witchy stuff here and there. Um, but yeah, I found myself just kind of, bored a lot of the time. I will say though, the movie does, for its time, it was very progressive. Like it had very strong, feminist themes around it about sort of this bored housewife sort of wanting to sort of break away from that stereotype and stuff like that. So I will give like Romero props on that, for he always seemed to be, ahead of his time and progressive. Yeah, man, it's a good like character study on sort of this character, but as a horror movie, it was disappointing to me. But I'd say, I mean, it was worth like I didn't hate myself for watching it, but it's not something I would ever revisit.
I was just bored to death. I'm gonna be honest. It's way too fucking long. There isn't a whole lot that goes on either. Like as far as a horror film goes, it's so very little. It's all at the end. I don't know. Like this is definitely not one of my favorite George movies. I'm glad I watched it, but yeah, it just I get what he was going for with this one, but I just don't know if it was executed all that well.
Read. And Todd, no memory.
No
Do you
memory,
remember
but
anything? All right.
I remember being bored out of my fucking mind. That's pretty much
Okay.
what you guys said. Yeah. So I have my rating that I rated it 3 years ago. I just don't remember, so that's a bad thing, right?
Mm. All right. All right. I'll start us off with the rating. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Because I think especially if you're a Romero completionist, I personally don't think it's his worst movie. So, I think it's worth the watch, especially just to see sort of, um, the progressive themes for the time and stuff like that. And yeah, there's some interesting scenes in here, especially like some of the dream sequences are fairly creepy, with sort of a home invader. So yeah, it was decent, but definitely not his best. 2.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, definitely not his worst film, but definitely tied for his worst film in my opinion. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. It was just boring, and I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, and I also gave it 2.5 out of 5. There are good themes here. The performances are good. It's just too long. It takes too long to get to the point as well, and too slow, for me. But 2.5 out of 5. I don't think it's his worst film, unfortunately. But yeah.
Alrighty. So let's go on to the very next year, 1973's The Crazies. The military attempts to contain a man made combat virus that causes death and permanent insanity in those infected as it overtakes a small Pennsylvania town.
All right, man. This one I absolutely love, right? And you see a lot of building blocks for his future movies in this too. Like Dawn of the Dead, I'm like, oh man, like this is drawing very strong parallels. And he uses an actor, obviously, that's featuring Dawn of the Dead, but that's not even the beginning of it. Just like the buddy cop thing, right? George does an amazing job at playing everyman characters extremely well and believable. And these two guys are firefighters, right? And their town is besieged by military guys without any, like, they're not helping them, they're not telling them, they're not giving pointers or anything, they're just rounding them up, and they're like, nah, fuck this. So it's like these guys are not, huge actors. Their IMDb profiles are minuscule at best, you know what I mean? And for them to be able to play off each other so well, like, I just bought it the entire time. Are there some issues? Yeah, sure. There's some editing issues I noticed, some like weird angles at times that didn't make sense. But like, as a building block for his future like fantastic films, this one's awesome. I love the theme. There's some really cool scenes, especially the old lady killing that fucking guy. Super cool. And the shootout with one of our lead characters meeting his demise is just excellent. The way they framed that scene and how he bought the bullet, bought the farm, what do you want to say, which is great. So I love this one.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this one in quite a long time. I honestly remember the remake a hell of a lot better than this one. So I was excited to go back and revisit it. And this holds up, I think, pretty damn well, especially after going through our own pandemic, just a few years ago. So seeing sort of this town being contained and stuff, I thought was super interesting. And like Todd said, it reminded me, especially like the beginning with sort of the frenetic pace of it all. It reminded me a lot of the beginning of Dawn of the Dead. So, and it really like it was cool to see that. It felt like you were watching George sort of like workshop, almost like what would he, go on to make just a few short years later, with Dawn. But yeah, man, there's a lot of memorable scenes in this movie, but of course the most memorable, Todd already mentioned it, was sort of the granny character getting up and sort of stabbing the soldiers in this one. Yeah, man, it's a good movie. It's solid. It definitely does have some issues with editing, acting, and stuff like that, but overall, yeah, this is a solid one.
Yeah, like you guys said, George was really good at the everyman kind of feeling. It felt real, like compared to a lot of other movies, and yeah, it definitely hit different after the pandemic. But I still had some issues with it. Like pacing, I feel is very like all over the place. There are periods where some cool stuff happens, and there are long periods where nothing happens or nothing interesting happens. Like Joe said, the editing is also really off to me. Like he was still kind of figuring out his style and everything like that, and it just kind of compared to some of his other, especially later films, I think he like kind of perfected it. Whereas in this one, you could tell he's just still experimenting with stuff, and that is something that I saw in some of his non-horror stuff that we're not going to talk about so much, and some of his like indie, like really small stuff. He was like trying out his style, and this is just it's good, but it's not personally one of my favorites.
Rate it.
This is a 4 out of 5 for me, man. Despite the issues I have with it, I connect with it, and just think it's a great film. So 4 out of 5, and I appreciate this film for elevating his next work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's really solid. Just a few issues. It teeters 3.5 or 4, but I found myself I couldn't forgive some of the mistakes that were made in this one. But yeah, man, it's a solid movie and one I would watch again.
And I would give it a 3 out of 5. I'll rewatch it at some point. Maybe it was the mood I was in when I watched it or whatever it is, but it's still a good movie. It's just not one of my favorites.
Alrighty. And now we head over to 1975's The Amusement Park, although not released until much, much later. It was one of course, Romero's sort of movies that never got released. That it was post death, I believe,
Yep.
correct? That it was released. Yes. So post death. This was a post death Romero film that was uncovered, but was made in 1975. An elderly gentleman, for what he assumes will be an ordinary day at the amusement park, only to find this is like I'm sorry, IMDb. This is just a terrible like synopsis here. It's just written so poorly. But let me try to get through this again. An elderly gentleman goes for what he assumes will be an ordinary day at the amusement park, only to find himself in the middle of a hellish nightmare.
It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutally sad too. Originally this was supposed to be like a PSA kind of movie, right? For the mistreatment of elderly, I believe. And it was shelved for years until, like you said, a few years ago it came out. But it's sad, man. Like this isn't a horror movie like where you're seeing blood and guts and all that shit. It's a horror movie where an innocent people, in this case, elderly people, are taken advantage of in just messed up ways, man. Like manipulating them for their money. um like, oh, and a good scene too where another older guy's like, he warns them like, don't do it, and he does it anyway, and the same result happens again, and it's like, man, it's fucked up. But powerful film and very effective.
Yeah, man, and what I like about this movie is it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's less than an hour long, so and it's very very effective. And it's very very sad for sure, like you said. Just like sort of the all the metaphors of how we mistreat the elderly and stuff like that. It was just really great. Like, is it a horror movie? Yeah, maybe not, but there's definitely some moments in there, I suppose. But yeah, man, I love the main actor here, who of course is also in Martin, that we're about to get into here in a second. But I think he's great as the lead here, and yeah, man, it's a good one. It's a really solid one, but it's definitely a great thinker movie. Like it's one that will really make you reflect on how you might treat the older generations.
Yeah, I really like this one. I was so happy that I got to see it. Obviously Romero passed away in 2017, and this came out I think in like 2019 or 2020. And that's obviously a point where you don't think you'll ever see something new from Romero, him being passed away. But finding this such a great find. It's a really, really good. The way that they tackle dementia in a really kind of clever and sad way. The like you said, the abuse to the elderly, the way their loneliness also really comes through in this. It's a really well made film, and something that I'm so happy saw the light of day. I remember we talked about it quite extensively when it first came out on the podcast, and I remember even saying it would have been high on my top 10. I don't remember if actually I think I might have excluded it because it was under an hour, but truly a brilliant film by Romero, and glad we got to see it.
Yeah, I'm at a 4 out of 5 on this one. I think my letterbox had it at 3.5 out of 5, but after a rewatch, I definitely up my rating to a 4 out of 5 just because I think it is a great movie, and it's one that I think you could show people. I think you show anyone this one and it will resonate with them.
Yeah, agreed. 4 out of 5 for me too, for everything you just mentioned.
Same thing, 4 out of 5. It's awesome.
Alrighty. Now we move on to 1977's Martin. A young man who believes himself to be a vampire goes to live with his elderly and hostile cousin in a Pennsylvania small town where he tries to redeem his blood craving urges.
This one's wild, man. This is another experimental Romero film, John Amplis is, not on paper, not leading man material, but he carries this film in his little creepy ass way, And I think we all met him this weekend, right? Yeah, we all three met him. Cool guy, and I asked him like, hey, like, what's your favorite movie that you're in? And he said Martin. So, um, yeah, it leaves you guessing, it leaves you wondering, it leaves you asking questions like, is this at face value what it is, or is it something else? But the most memorable thing in this one by far is the ending, because it's just fucking brutal, in your face, shocking, and not in the sense of like, I'm getting my head ripped off and there's a fountain of blood, but in a different way. If you haven't seen it, I won't ruin it. So Martin, go out and see it, man. This is good.
Yeah, this one I had never seen before. So I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. But man, I came out really liking it, but the more I've sat on it, I'm loving it more and more as I go on. Yeah, when I met Amplis this week, I told him I was like, I watched Martin for the first time just a few weeks ago. I was like, I loved it, and he said it was his favorite movie, like you said, but he also said it was George's favorite movie he ever did as well. So, and I can see why. It's so unique. It's a really refreshing and different take on the vampire genre that to this day I still really haven't seen anything that even comes close to like how different this movie is. It just like kind of it gives you like the mundane life of a vampire, like of like an everyday life in some ways, but I found it so interesting. And Amplis, of course, like you said, carries the movie. Um and it's just like a really bizarre one, but it's one that like I have not been able to get out of my head since I've watched it.
One thing that makes this particular movie effective for me is how Romero utilized different techniques to achieve the feeling of being like just uncomfortable. He used it by he has a lot of shots where it's like really quick images. He does like really unconventional sound effects at times, which I think is meant to make you uncomfortable, and it does a really great job at it. The acting, very, very good. The ending was memorable for sure. My issue with it though is I found the story could have been better told. Like I was a little confused at times, like where the hell it was going or what was happening. It's kind of a different way to structure the story. It's not like a as much of a linear story as some of his other films, but I think if you come into this one with an open mind, you might enjoy it, but it's not like an easy to watch film like a lot of the other ones. It's really like kind of like Todd said, experimental film.
Yeah, I agree. This definitely isn't going to be one for everyone because I feel like at times the narrative is a little hard to follow, but it does find its way back in the end, and it ends up sort of wrapping itself up very nicely, and like you said, a very very memorable and dark ending. So yeah, man, I originally gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. But like I said, the longer I sit on it, the more and more I really like it. And I like that he wasn't afraid to sort of take risks, do something super different. And there's some very like disturbing scenes in here, especially that even the opening is like you get thrusted right into it. And yeah, I'm giving it a 4. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I give it a 4 too. And it's like you guys said, it's not for everybody. It's a little slower. It's not going to be. It's not a Lost Boys kind of vampire film or Near Dark, right? Um, but yeah, it's solid, man. I give it a 4 out of 5.
And I gave it 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, it's definitely got some issues, but it's an enjoyable one, especially if you go in with an open mind.
All righty. Let's head into it, folks. We're starting to get into the meat here. 1978, George, 10 years later, after, of course, Night of the Living Dead, comes out with the second movie in his Dead trilogy, 1978's Dawn of the Dead. During an escalating zombie epidemic, 2 Philadelphia SWAT team members, a traffic reporter, and his TV executive girlfriend seek refuge in a secluded shopping mall.
Man, Fran, Peter, Roger, Steven, Flyboy, aka Flyboy. Just the cast, man. The character development in this is fucking great. People start off differently than what they end up as, Flyboy is this like weak, kind of little wimpy nerd dude, turns into a fucking badass, Roger and Peter, the fucking Roger's supposed to be like level-headed cop, loses it. You know what I mean? Fran is like worthless in the beginning, turns out to be fucking G. You know what I mean? It's just a great movie. The use of the mall is excellent. Sure, the zombies a little bit out of date. All right, sure, whatever. I'll give you that. But the kills are fucking phenomenal. The zombie violence, the way the film is broken up into sections, right, and the transitions, like we're having a good time, and then we see a wide shot of zombies just like slowly moving into the mall and getting closer. Uh, Peter losing his fucking mind and out of boredom and getting just pissed off at the world. It's a great film. It hits me every single time when Roger dies. Every single fucking time he gets bit, I'm like, fucking Roger, just like get the bag, you piece of shit. And it's so cool to be in person and explaining, yeah, these 2 trucks were backed up right here and up on that corner of that the roof. That's where Fran would have been shooting down, trying to help Roger. Oh, this would have been right where Roger was bit. I'm like, oh, like blow my mind. You know what I mean? Dawn Dead's my favorite horror movie, favorite movie period. And this is the only movie that when people say they don't like it, I get a little bit mad about. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, man, this movie definitely holds a special place in my heart just because like it was like right at the right time of my upbringing. I saw it. I think I was like probably like 13, 14. Like I was just hanging out with my buddies and we found it at the video store, put it on, and just like the gore and everything just like blew our minds at the time. But now as an adult, like I start to like focus more, of course, on the storyline rather than the gore and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously you can see why this is regarded as Romero's masterpiece. Yeah, man, it's just like the way he just developed, the characters in this, you care about every single character. Our 4 main anyway in this movie. Yeah, I mean Savini's effects are great. I mean, sure, did the zombies look blue and stuff like that? Sure. I mean, but man, I don't know. It's just I think a lot of nostalgia. Like I don't know. Like it's interesting because like we did hear like people this weekend saying that they watched it for the first time recently and didn't like it and stuff like that. And I mean, I think you had to have watched it at the right time in your life for it really to have hit you. And I think we were all that age when it hit us, and it just holds definitely a special place in my heart. And yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, we talk about it a lot on this podcast, but me and Todd are like the huge Dawn of the Dead fans, and for all the reasons you guys said, it's such great character building, amazing gore, great action scenes. It's funny at times, it's sad at times. It also has like really strong social commentary. I mean, people remember Dawn of the Dead for everything in the mall, and rightfully so. The mall is such a great location, but there's an entire like scene at the beginning where they go into the projects, and there's race, they tackle racism, and they tackle like the way that people deal with their families, and it's like really really good stuff in there. It's so sad, and something he does well in this one in particular is the zombies are not only monsters, but you kind of feel bad for them at times, and he does it in such interesting and subtle ways. Like one of the zombies gets her dress caught in the doors at JCPenney and is like trying to get away because the action's going somewhere else, and Fran feels bad for her, so she just opens the door, and the zombie kind of looks back almost like to say thank you. It's weird that he makes almost the villains like the humans, because in reality the zombies just want to do their thing. They're kind of programmed in a way to kill people just out of instinct, but they're not really like maliciously doing it. It's like the bikers later, they come in and they're the bad people. And there's so many iconic scenes, but I can see how someone has issues with this one. It's goofy at times. I mean, they have like a pie fight out of nowhere, and you have a guy who takes his blood pressure in the middle of the zombie attack twice. But to me, that's what adds to the charm. And you guys mentioned the makeup. Yeah, is it good? No, but this is what makes this movie stand out to me, because there are a lot of movies that have good zombie makeup, but they kind of get lost in the shuffle. Like I see a blue zombie, I immediately think Dawn of the Dead. If they had just regular zombies, I wouldn't be able to kind of pick him out of a line type of deal unless it's an iconic zombie. Yeah, I just fucking love this movie. I mean, the score, incredible. Like it fits the movie so well, fits the time period, fits the mundane kind of mall music that they used to play, especially like in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. Yeah, I absolutely love this film from top to bottom, and it was such an honor to see the mall in person, and getting to do Living Dead Weekend, see all the locations, because a lot of malls are dying, and I don't think that mall is a very big one. Popular wise, it was pretty dead with a convention going on, so I can only imagine what it's like on a regular day. So I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm just glad I got to see it, and yeah, it's fantastic. And this movie is obviously, a favorite of mine. I mean, I'm gonna watch it again because since we won and since we went, I watched it right before going, and I'm gonna watch it again just to kind of see those locations again with a different perspective.
Yeah, 100%. Well, one thing we didn't even mention was also like the way he tackled obviously consumerism with the zombies, being in the mall, kind of scratching at the doors and stuff like that. It's really funny. There's been memes since, of course, comparing the Dawn of the Dead to like Black Friday, when Black Friday was at its peak. It was like almost a side by side, almost exact shot of, instead of zombies, it was humans. It's really funny. So Romero definitely knew what he was talking about. All right, yeah, I'll start us off. I mean, obviously, I know what you guys are going to give this one. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, because my issue with it is it's a little too long, right? At like 2 hours and 20 minutes, I do think the runtime starts to wane a little bit here and there. But I mean, it's a great zombie movie. It's one of the best zombie movies ever made. And I'm just kind of, the length and a couple of scenes that went on a little too long, specifically the truck scene, with Roger and Peter parking the trucks, I think went on far too long. But other than that, love it. 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Well, you're wrong. Just kidding. I was fine. No, man, I love every aspect of it. And the runtime doesn't hit me. I've watched all three versions of this film multiple times. You got the European cut, US theatrical cut, and the director's cut. And I prefer the theatrical cut. I think it's the superior one. Um, it's just a good movie, man. I love the characters, I love the action, music, everything about it. It makes me feel a certain way every time. And without this movie, I wouldn't be the horror fan I am today, because this one like opened the floodgates for me. So 5 out of 5.
Yeah, same thing for me. I don't credit it as the one that got me into horror. I give that to Night of the Living Dead remake, but it's the one that made me fall in love with horror. Like this is where I became a horror fan, was when watching. I had it on a bootleg VHS tape, and I talked about it when we did the episode. I think it was episode 200. The bootleg tape I had ended with Peter with a gun in his head. And I thought that's where it ended. I thought he just shot himself and Fran flew away. But as I found out when I got the DVD years later, I was like, oh shit, there's there's like another 5 minutes of this fucking movie that changes the whole ending. So
That's a great ending. That's actually a fucking great ending.
Right? Just cut it with
Yeah.
not knowing what happens. 5 out of 5 though. It was amazing. And actually a really cool moment that happened when we all got to the mall for the first time. There was a helicopter that flew over the mall, and I was just like kind of
It's Flyboy.
luck. Yeah, it was just awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And then we saw another helicopter after leaving the mall tour too. That was like over by the hospital, getting ready to take off or something like that. So that was really funny. It was kind of like, I think it was MG just kind of saying hi to us, I think.
Yeah, and then on the last night, we also saw a fucking like gigantic group of bikers like going towards the mall. So yeah, like who knew?
That's pretty awesome. Also, shout out to Flyboy Cosplay that was at Living Dead Weekend. He was amazing. He looked exactly like MG, and he did a walk down the hallway, and it looked fucking awesome. I took video. We all took video of it. I'll post it on our Instagram at some point. I'm going to be posting pictures all week of all the Living Dead Weekend stuff, but that guy was awesome. So shout out to him. Alrighty, let's move on to 1982 now with Creep Show 5, grisly tales from a kid's comic book about a murdered father rising from his grave, a bizarre meteor, a vengeful husband, a mysterious crate's occupant, and a plague of cockroaches. Of course, something we just touched on just a couple of weeks ago, but
last week.
Let's briefly, last week. So we did Night of the Creeps, right? Last week.
Oh, that's right. We did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago. So something you heard our review on, but let's touch on it quickly once again. Totter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple standout segments, the Tide is amazing. And there's some stinkers, man. Like the cockroach one is fucking awful. And I don't like the Stephen King one. I know you guys do, but to each his own. Yeah, and you can listen to our full review a couple weeks ago if you're interested, but not my favorite. I prefer Creepshow 2.
Yeah, man, I love this one. Other than, of course, the Dead movies, this is probably my favorite Romero movie. I just enjoy. I think all the segments are very good. Some obviously better than others, but they all, I think, have their entertainment value in their own ways. And if you want to hear more, go back 2 weeks and we do a full breakdown.
Yeah, the same way. I love this one. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I watched it early on, and it's one I've seen, easily over 10 times at this point. And it's my personal favorite Creep Show. As I said in the episode, but Creep Show 2 is also good. It's not directed by Romero. It's only written by Romero. But it's a good one. I like this one a lot.
All right, and yeah, I give this one a 4 out of 5. It's super fun and I've always loved it, and it was awesome to see the Creepshow house this week. That was even another highlight.
Yeah, I'm at a 3, but I'm bumping it up to a 3.5 because seeing the house was cool and it made me appreciate the film a little bit more. So 3.5.
I gave it a 4 out of 5. But before we move on, I just want to mention Night Riders. It's not a horror movie, but if you're a Romero fan, I would recommend checking it out, because it's basically like an all-star season of Romero movies. All of like the actors you see in a lot of his movies, even like the Night of the Living Dead remake has people in this movie. It's crazy. It's like all of the Romero actors like gathered for this one movie, and I would recommend checking it out, if only for that. There's a lot of cool reasons to do so, and maybe it'll be reviewed on Todd and I's other podcast someday. But if you're a Romero fan, I would say check it out, just to see kind of all the actors from the various movies come together, and it's fucking cool.
Nice. Alrighty, let's head over now to 1985 as Romero closes his first chapter of the Dead trilogy. As the world is with Day of the Dead. As the world is overrun by zombies, a group of scientists and military personnel sheltering in an underground bunker in Florida must decide on how they should deal with the undead horde.
It's another one that plays an important part in my horror fandom, man. I specifically remember getting this DVD. Still have the copy where it's a Bub's face and it opens up to a booklet, and you have Dr. Logan's like, his fake little notepad. It's really cool. And listening to the Anchor Bay DVD menu music, it just brings a smile to my face, man. Um, it dropped down in quality from Dawn of the Dead, to be sure. And it's a fucking shame that he didn't get the budget that he originally wanted, because the original script is huge, right? With a bunch of giant set pieces. I think it would have been dope. Still love this movie with all my heart. It's fucking awesome. But the problems I have with it are glaring problems that I think a lot of people are annoyed with. A lot of the annoying character choices, actors that just go over the top. And yeah, the setting in a mine, cool as hell, man. But I just wish it had a different ending than it does. So still love it a lot.
Yeah, I love this one as well. Obviously it is a slight step down from Dawn, but I think it's pretty damn great in its own right. I still say I think it's the best zombies ever put to screen. I think in every way. They're just all have sort of their own. A lot of them have their own personalities, like they did in Dawn, but in this one, just the makeup is so much better. And they just look fucking awesome. So yeah, to me, obviously some might say Walking Dead, and Steve would probably say that, but to me, Day of the Dead, the best zombies ever put to screen, in my opinion. Rhodes is just a fantastic villain. Joseph Pilato just gives a great performance here. But I mean, the cast in general is really good. My only complaint is like I wish we got out of the mine, a little bit. I think being down in or the said the bunker, being down in the bunker, after a while gets a little grating, but once again, probably the most iconic zombie ever in this movie with Bub. Um, and he's awesome. He's just awesome in it. You know what I mean? And you'll hear my complaints later on with sort of the evolution of the smart zombie, but I thought this was like the perfect sort of medium of having a smart zombie, but that doesn't go too far. So yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie as well. It's just there's so many things to love about it. The gore, the zombies, like you said. I do think that Walking Dead had the best zombies, like zombie design, but that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this movie, because Greg Nicotero, who does the zombies on Walking Dead, was Savini's assistant on Day of the Dead. So it just kind of all leads into that. So this movie also very important, I think, in film history, and I love it to death. My complaint is that there's too much time spent with characters basically arguing, and it's like it just drags on the movie a little too long, especially in the middle there. But it's still a classic and one that I rewatch every few years.
I give this movie the Bub salute, 4.5 out of 5.
What's your favorite line from this, Joe?
My favorite line from this?
Is that
Do
food?
I have one? No, is there food? Is there food?
I give this the Hello, Aunt Alicia, 5 out of 5. I do have issues with it, but they're vastly overshadowed by the amazing shit in this film. Um, choke on them. Come on, man. Choke on them. Tell me a better line than that. I guess they're coming to get you, Barbara, but whatever. Choke 'em is next.
Yeah, I give it a 4.5 out of 5 as well. Just fucking amazing movie and one of Romero's best.
Alrighty. Let's move on now to 1988's Monkey Shines. A quadriplegic man has a trained monkey help him with his paralysis until the little monkey begins to develop feelings and rage against its new master.
Yeah, this monkey's a little prick, dude. And it has a scene that's really disturbing to me, and it's always like one of those that's stuck into my mind. When the man, obviously he's depressed. He was this, young, fit guy, and then he has an accident, and he's, paraplegic now, and he tries to kill himself by putting his head underneath like a plastic sheet. And when you see it, it's just, I don't know, it's just stuck in my mind, that vision of him sucking on, like, the plastic, and he's dying. It's fucking brutal. I do think that the ending is a little bit too cheesy, though. I think it's a good film overall, but that ending definitely affects it.
Yeah, this is another one I had never seen before. So this one actually I was probably looking forward to the most out of all of the Romero movies I hadn't seen, just because of the cover. I remember the cover very vividly at my video store growing up. It's just one I never decided to watch. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty solid movie overall. I found the movie very engaging, especially with the story, like this quadriplegic man who's sort of, who's, dealing with, after the accident, dealing with sort of everything that comes with it and stuff like that. We don't even really see the monkey until about 40 minutes into the movie, but I never found myself bored. Like I was always really interested to see like what this character was doing. So I think the character development in this is great. I also think, technically speaking, this is one of Romero's best movies as far as like cinematography. I think it's shot very well. It's very polished. Like you could tell he definitely had a good budget in this movie. The acting is really good as well in this, across the board, really, from our lead. And you even get Stanley Tucci, a younger Stanley Tucci, in here as the asshole doctor, which I thought was pretty cool. I guess my biggest critique of the movie, though, is sort of the lack of explanation with sort of like the supernatural elements that happen with the monkey. Obviously, like they're feeding this monkey, not feeding, but they're injecting the monkey with like this brain serum, and somehow it's making like the guy like able to go into the monkey, like, or the monkey able to go into this guy, and like he can see like what the monkey sees and shit like that. Like there was just like no real good explanation there, so there's sort of a lack. I felt like there was a bit of a lack of explanation or focus there. But overall, it's a solid movie. I would have liked a little more monkey rage, but as it stands, pretty good.
Joe, they call that connection The Shining.
Well, yeah, it is, I suppose, but yeah,
Right?
they do mention that, but
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
just
buy it.
right. This is definitely an interesting film. It's cool to see how this turns from like basically a romantic film into a horror film. They play off the monkey, and he's like falling in love with the person who's handling the monkey, and it's like you would, if you didn't know it was a horror film, you probably thought it was like one of those like cheesy romance films where the guy falls in love through the extraordinary circumstance and stuff like that. I really like the guy who played the main actor, Alan. He really conveys like having limitations with the increasing nightmare in his life. He's having issues with his nurse. The monkey's starting to act up, and he really can't do much about it, right? Because he's a quadriplegic and he has like a lot of limitations to his movement and stuff like that. And you really feel through his eyes like the pain that he's feeling, and conveying like his emotions through very little movement. I thought really, really good with that. I agree that I think the mind connection between Alan and Ella, the monkey, is could have been explained a little bit more. But my biggest complaint is definitely that there weren't enough kills. If there had been more kills in the movie, I think it would have raised the stakes considerably, which I never felt were quite there to make it kind of up at that level where you really feel like this monkey is gonna kind of fuck shit up. It just doesn't do it often enough to kind of give you that feeling that's really that dangerous. So I'm happy I saw it. I had seen it a long, long time ago with my dad, but I didn't remember. I remember like certain little shots and scenes, but this was almost like a fresh watch to me. I don't think I ever need to revisit it at this point, but it's one I'm happy I saw at least once.
Can we talk about the sex scene?
Yeah,
Sure.
yes, please.
Awesome. Good for him. Getting after it with his shortcomings. So I liked it. And
Yeah.
yeah. I just wanted to throw a joke in there,
All
but
right.
yeah, honestly,
A
respect. That's
little
pretty
oral
cool.
sex scene. Yeah.
Yeah, a little cunnilingus never hurt
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Love it. All right. Yeah, I'm at a 3.5 out of 5 on this one, just because I found the story so good and engaging. Yeah, it was entertaining. It's something I would personally watch again. So 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm still at a 4. I'm on the 4 train with this one. I think there's a lot of great stuff in this, and the lead character's performance is just it's awesome. I am still gonna stick though that the ending is like, really? That's what we're doing with the ending? Okay, whatever. But yeah, overall it's a pretty cool film. Especially when he bites the fuck out of the monkey. That's cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
wild.
I give it a 3 out of 5. I just think it was too long at times. There's really long periods where there's not a whole lot going on, and it just needed more kills to really convey the danger of the monkey, and it wasn't there. So 3 out of 5.
Alrighty, let's go to 1990 now, where George teamed up with another legendary director, of course, Dario Argento, to make Two Evil Eyes. This is a duo of Edgar Allan Poe adaptations. George's story about being a greedy wife's attempt to embezzle her dying husband's fortune, and Argento's story, a sleazy reporter's adoption of a strange black cat.
Here we got Adrian Barbeau playing a freaking psycho again, just like in Creepshow. A mean old chick that's gonna steal all her husband's money with her. What is it, the lawyer or is it a doctor that they're fucking
It
teaming
was a
up?
doctor.
Doctor. Fucking prick. Um, Tommy Atkins is in this. You got Harvey Keitel in the second, the Argento one. I'm not an Argento guy though, man. Like I've never been. Like there's a couple ones I like. Opera's pretty cool. I don't like everyone's favorite, fucking Suspiria. Um, this one overall is just a little bit boring for me. Even though it's just a two-part anthology, I still felt bored with it. Some badass effects though, especially in the second segment. But overall, I'm just like I've always been lukewarm with this film.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I was scrambling at the end to get through all the Romero movies, and I only watched the Romero segment of this one. I did not watch the Argento segment. But yeah, I mean it just reminded me of like a creep show like episode, obviously. But just a longer version of it. I do think at an hour, like, it does start to wane a little bit. But it was great to see Atkins in here. Barbeau is always a treasure to see in anything. And yeah, I mean it was decent. I think it could have been better, but I think the story was better than like the full execution here.
Yeah, so this I think was a first time watch for me. I really didn't recall, and I said it when I talked about it on What Watch like weeks ago. Originally, this was conceived as a four-story anthology, which also included Carpenter and Wes Craven as the other two stories. So I think that would have been fucking awesome because it's almost like they tried to extend their half-hour segments into an hour, and it showed. So if we go to Romero's segment, for example, it's cool that you have Tommy Atkins and Adrian Barbeau who are, in four movies together and never squares, never shared a single fucking second of screen time, which is absolutely fascinating. It just takes so long to get to the point in that one. Now, given once you get to the point, it's fucking awesome. The last 10 minutes of the first segment, really, really cool. The effects that they do, it felt like something Romero would do, you know. As far as the Argento one, so the story revolves about someone that's abusing and ultimately killing a cat. So right away you're losing me because that's really not something I'm down with. And even though it's kind of like a revenge story to like kind of attack the guy that who's played by Harvey Keitel who killed the cat, I still just it kind of lost me right there in the first 10 minutes. So I didn't enjoy it at all. So I think I was disappointed overall because you throw me a movie made by two of the masters of horror, and this is what we get. I guess I expected more.
Yeah, so I can't give it like a full rating as a whole, but as far as Romero's story goes, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Like I said, it was it was decent, but not something I think I would ever revisit.
Yeah, I'm sticking with a 3.5. Sorry, a 3 out of 5. Um, I still like it because there's certain aspects that I enjoy, the effects and all that stuff. Adrian Barbeau, Tom Atkins, you always get extra points for them. So 3 out of 5.
Uh, If it was just Romero's story, I would probably give it a 3 or maybe even 3.5. But because of Argento's story, I bring it all the way down to a 2. I just
Mm.
I didn't like it like at all. So that's a whole hour that I didn't enjoy. And then Romero's story, I thought was just it just took way too fucking long to get to the mean potatoes of it. And I really feel it's because he was forced to add half an hour to a to a movie that should have been half an hour for the entire runtime. So yeah, 2 out of 5.
All righty. Now we head into 1993's The Dark Half. A writer's fictional alter ego wants to take over his life at any price. Romero, of course, reunites here with Stephen King. This is based on a Stephen King story.
Yeah, man, freaking good cast, and Timothy Hutton is fantastic in this. You got Michael Rooker in there. You got freaking Robert Joy, who's awesome from Land of the Dead. I wonder if he cast him because of that. But anyway, overall though, it's way too fucking long. An hour and 22 minutes for this film, and it's not like action packed by any means. But I really do enjoy the I guess the dark half of this, the his alter ego, his character that's coming to life. It's really creepy. He's got this weird, sinister look to him that I really appreciate, but it's still too damn long.
Yeah, this is one I had never seen or honestly never even heard of before. Obviously you could feel the personal touch with King here. Like, it definitely was King dealing with his demons he dealt with in his life with his alcoholism and everything like that. So I found that to be like really interesting. I thought Timothy Hutton was great in his, dual role here. But yeah, like Todd said, at, over 2 hours long, it's just too stretched out, and you definitely start to feel it after a while. Still a really fun watch, a really fun watch though, like because I really like that, the Hutton's dual role here, and there's some fun to be had. And it's cool to see Romero and King doing something once again together. But yeah, man, I think they could have trimmed a lot of fat with this one.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. It's way too fucking long. I like the concept of the story. It mirrors, of course, King's own career, how he had an alter ego, Richard Bachman, around this
Mhm.
time, and the whole idea that there are two writers essentially, but maybe just one, and you're kind of trying to figure out, is it just him playing two roles? Is it actually two people? And I really like especially the first half, because as we're trying to kind of figure out what exactly is going on, but the second half really lost me because you get some really unbelievable story points. The final sequence is super underwhelming. You would think that when it all comes to a head that there'd be something like really, really crazy, but it just didn't go anywhere interesting by the end. And that was too bad because it was a really cool premise and a really good first half, but fortunately, it just didn't deliver at the end.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'm at a 3 out of 5 on this one. Um, yeah, it's not something I would care to rewatch, but it was a really good one-time watch for me. But unfortunately the runtime just kills it for me.
Yeah, overall, this one is just way too fucking long. I give it a 2.5 out of 5.
And I also gave it 2.5 out of 5. I think if they had gone kind of where it was going in the first half, it would have been a lot higher, but they just dropped the ball, unfortunately, halfway through. So 2.5 out of 5.
I'm super excited for you to announce this next one, Joe, because I can't
All
wait to
right.
argue with you.
Now we had 7 years later, actually, a big gap here for Romero. But we hit 2000 with 2000's Bruiser. After years of being tread upon and cheated on, a man awakens to find his face has been replaced by a blank white mask.
Yeah, so Jason Fleming plays his little bitch, dude. He's got this wife that like is into him for his money. He's like I guess like an editor or something at Bruiser, which is actually the magazine. He works for Peter Stormare, who's a fucking greaseball, dirty piece of shit, misogynist asshole, right? I hate him. I hate him in this movie. And he gets something, right, where he wakes up with this masquerade mask on him, and it's stuck to his skin, and it brings out like I guess, the worst in him, but it happens to build him as a character, right? And he's like, I'm not taking anyone's shit anymore. And then, of course, you got Tom Atkins, who's the investigating police officer, who's a fucking G in this, and he's following the bodies, trying to figure out who it is. And I love this one, man. I think it's an effective movie. It's shot pretty damn great. The actors are awesome in it, and I love the look of the killer.
Yeah, I didn't like this one. Unfortunately, to me, man, it just felt like a really shitty made-for-TV movie in a lot of ways. Like I felt like it just felt like super. I don't know. It just had this look to it. Like it felt like something I would watch on Lifetime or something like that, and like I couldn't get past that. And then just like I don't know, like I wasn't into the blank mask. Obviously, I know what Romero was going for, with it as like a man who's sort of walked all over and stuff like that, doesn't have a face and stuff like that. His wife's fucking around on him in front of his face and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I just wasn't, I wasn't digging the mask. I wasn't digging the story really. I mean, Tom Atkins is in here, so that's always a highlight. But yeah, man, I feel like it definitely got better though towards the end. Obviously, we get like an awesome Misfits concert, Halloween party thing, which was pretty awesome. And there's some decent kills and stuff towards the end. But overall, I just wasn't vibing with it.
I love this movie. I mean, it's got so many of the things I love about it. It's got Romero, it's got Tommy Atkins, fucking uh, Peter Stormare as Milo is like the perfect. I fucking hate this character, but I love the actor playing this character because he's just a character you want to hate. He's such an asshole in this movie. He's such a grimy, slimy asshole, and I love that because it really made kind of the film entertaining, and he really steals every scene that he's in. I like the idea of the faceless killer. No one pays attention to this guy. It reminded me a little bit of like American Psycho in a way because he's kind of like almost invisible to a lot of people. His girlfriend like is cheating on him, and it's just a really interesting story. It's done so well. There's some great kills. There are some great scenes. Like you said, the party scene is really, really cool. I think this is an underrated movie. Like, I think this is a really good slasher. Now, I don't think it would necessarily like become a franchise or anything like that. He doesn't have like the most interesting look, but it makes so much sense for the story that was being told here. And yeah, I really dug this one.
Alrighty. Well, I'm the dissenting voice on this one, so I'll rate it first. I'm a 2 out of 5 on it. Do I think it's Romero's worst movie? No, it's still to come. But yeah, it's not something I was compelled with or anything like that, and honestly, I couldn't wait for it to end. So yeah, sorry guys.
It's all right. It happens. I'm at a 4 out of 5. I think it's shot well. Like I said, acted well. And I like that he gets his revenge on people. Like, even his fucking quote unquote best friend, first of all, he cheats at tennis of all things. Let him have the point, you stupid bitch. And then he's stealing money from him. It's like, come on, man. And he gets his revenge on people. So Bruiser, 4.5. I mean, sorry, a 4 out of 5.
And I'm right there. 4 out of 5. Underrated film. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about this like pretty much ever, and it's a shame because I think it's awesome and people should at least give it a shot.
Alrighty. Now let's head into the year 2005. George is back, bringing the zombie back 20 years later. After Day of the Dead, he is starting a brand new zombie trilogy with Land of the Dead. The living dead have taken over the world, and the last humans live in a walled city to protect themselves as they come to grips with the situation. Interestingly enough, of course, this was sort of the original plot for Day of the Dead, but he didn't have the budget at the time, hence why we are now getting this with Land of the Dead.
Yeah, some more fond memories of this one. Going to the theater, seeing it twice, being extremely excited for it, because this was like right after I got super into horror, right? Like, this is the end of high school for me. And, this is like I'm on every forum fucking talking about horror movies and being a little fucking nerd and shit like that. We covered this movie like what, 4 or 5 episodes ago, something like that. So like for more in depth, go check that out. But overall, I love this movie, even with some like glaring bad issues. I still have a very like it's fun. I have a very strong fondness for it. So, oh, and we saw Big Daddy's costume at the Living Dead Museum and Asia Argento's costume. So that was pretty cool.
And his weapon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His like his final weapon there that he has,
His
like the
jackhammer thing.
jackhammer thing. Yeah, it doesn't look great in person, but that's
Mm-mm.
most props. But yeah, it was cool to see like some
Yeah.
Land of the Dead pieces.
Yeah, I remember obviously being like really, really excited to see this one as well in theaters. It was obviously the first Romero zombie movie, actually, maybe even the first Romero movie I ever got to see in theaters. So that was, really exciting. So I will always have fond memories of this movie because of that. The movie as a whole, I mean, obviously, like Todd said, we covered it so you can hear the full details of it. I think it's a fun movie, right? It's like a fun watch, but I think it obviously pales in comparison to his other three zombie movies. But honestly, like what we get in his last two movies after this is almost like a masterpiece in comparison. But yeah, man, I just had a lot of issues with this one. I just didn't connect with the characters like I did in his other three zombie movies. I felt like he neglected sort of the character development in this one. Um, and I just didn't like how smart the zombies got in this one. But it's still a fun movie. It's still a solid one. Yeah, and one I would definitely, revisit.
Yeah, after becoming a big horror fan, obviously, like I said, Night of the Living Dead remake got me into horror. Dawn of the Dead, like, really made me a horror fan. And at this point, it was the year after the Dawn of the Dead remake, which I also super fucking loved. So when they announced that Romero was going to come back with his own zombie film, I was so fucking excited to see this. And, there are issues for sure. And we talked about it when we reviewed it not too long ago. But I had so much fun watching it back then. I had just as much fun watching it like when we reviewed it, whenever it was. It's you just have to like kind of go with the flow and soak in the makeup, the really cool zombie actors, the kills, and it's stupid, but I enjoy the hell out of it. So yeah, it's a good one.
Alrighty. Yeah, I give this one a 3 out of 5. Just because of the reasons I said. I still think it's, a decent zombie movie, but when you're talking about, and I might even rate it like slightly higher. I might have went up to 3.5. But when you're talking about George Romero making this movie the king of zombies, obviously, I just feel like there was a lot left to be desired here.
Yeah, I'm a strong 4 out of 5. Issues aside, it's really dope. Zombies are awesome, and I'm in love with that opening scene where it's just like a slow shot coming through like this little like park area. You got some zombies playing instruments, and you got boyfriend girlfriend zombie, and then you get introduced to Big Daddy, and then you get introduced to the Raiders, and you get introduced to Fiddler's Green. It's just a really cool escalation of things. Yeah, 4 out of 5.
And I'm right there, 4 out of 5. I mean, there are glaring issues, overuse CGI. Some of the characters weren't developed in a good way. I think, Dennis Hopper, legendary actor, but not his best role in this. But I enjoy the hell out of it. It's just the zombies are so damn cool, and the kills, and some of the characters and stuff like that. Robert Joy, in particular, just killing in this role. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for Land of the Dead.
Also, we should mention this was Romero's last theater released film with 2005's Land of the Dead, as he goes on to make his next movies, which were all released straight to DVD. We're starting with 2007's Diary of the Dead. A group of young film students run into real life zombies while filming a horror movie of their own. This, of course, is Romero's take on the found footage genre. In a lot of ways, found footage was so popular back then, so hot on the streets. And this is Romero's zombie version of it.
Yeah, I think this is a good example of maybe someone getting a little bit out of touch with like the youth, And man, if you thought the CGI in Land of the Dead was bad, Steve, do I have the movie for you? And it's Diary of the Dead. Super disappointing, man. Like there's no other way to put it. It's super disappointing. I hate the characters. The found footage is like complete bullshit at times in this, and it's just bad. The CGI fucking zombies in the pool. Shut up. Get out of here. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, right, to see the king of the zombies, the man who is, the man who just created essentially a whole subgenre of the horror franchise of horror has what become this. It's tough, man. I think this is his worst movie. By far, probably. I mean, man, so like I am such a found footage enthusiast in a lot of ways, and I would call a snob in a lot of ways as well. I've seen so many found footage movies, and just yeah, like Todd said, it's bullshit. Like he completely breaks like every important rule like you're not supposed to break in found footage movies, and he does it with this. Yeah, man, the movie's just lacking in every way. Like you said, CGI zombies, CGI blood, and it's just like none of it looks good. The characters here are all paper thin. And the tone in this is so fucking weird, and the comedy is terrible. You have is this the movie where the character's just masturbating
No,
randomly?
No,
Like
that's
that's
the
the
making
next
next
one.
okay,
one.
that's the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, they kind of meld together, honestly, because they're both so bad. Spoiler for the next one. Um, but yeah, man, it's sad. Honestly, it's sad to see. I think Romero should have just stopped at land. But unfortunately, he didn't, and now we got to talk about it.
If I didn't know this was directed by Romero, and also there's a shot of him in the movie at some point, but I wouldn't believe that Romero made this because it's so fucking bad. It's so bad. Like you said, the fucking found footage rules are constantly broken. There aren't nearly enough zombies in it. Like for something that's called Diary of the Dead, there's very little of the dead, and a whole lot of diary with characters that are super unlikable, not fun to watch at all. The tone is boring. The scenery is bland. There's really very little I can say positive about this movie. It's an absolute piece of garbage film. Easily my least favorite of Romero's films. I'm surprised someone even gave him money to make another one. I feel differently about the other one, thankfully, but this one is just such a miss on so many levels. It's bad. Like it's real bad.
Yeah, obviously you can tell there were budgetary issues here. I mean, I don't know what the budget on it was, but man, like the lack of zombies in a zombie movie is like so crazy to me. Like there's like what, like two or three zombies in the final scene or whatever, you know? It's ridiculous. Like at this point, just fucking put CGI zombies in there. You might as well and make it seem like there's a horde out there. But it's just like such a it's so lackluster in every single way. It's disappointing. I think there was like, I mean, some potential there to be had, but unfortunately, it just, I think like the script had potential, but yeah, he just shouldn't have never made or tried his hand at a found footage movie because he just didn't do it well. Yeah, I'm at a 1.5 out of 5 on this one. It's his weakest movie by far. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be bad when the lead character has a voiceover. She's like, "We added music to this because we want to scare you." Well, that's not how found. Shut up. Get the fuck out of here. 2 million budget, made 5.5 million, so made some cash, I guess. 1.5 out of 5 as well. It is not good.
I give it a one. I fucking hated this one. It's just not good on almost any level. A couple cool things which took it out of the half star, section, but just not a good film at all.
Alrighty, and now we head into George's final movie. We have reached the end of Romero's career here with 2009's Survival of the Dead. On an island off the coast of North America, local residents simultaneously fight a zombie epidemic while hoping for a cure to return their undead relatives back to their human state.
Which is not really the plot because you have this whole thing where the soldiers that are making an appearance in Diary of the Dead that like rob the kids at the RV are like trying to find safety, and then they find like a kid with like an armored truck and they rob the armored truck, and then it turns into a thing where they're like, yeah, we'll help you get to Plum Island where everyone's Irish for some fucking reason. um you know what, I used to fucking hate this movie, and I don't think it's a good movie by any means, but it definitely improved with the just made my third watch of it. um but there's really still no excuse for the Plum Island shit. Everything on the island with the families warring against each other is just awful. It's stupid. It's out of place. Um, and like I said, it did improve, but there's some weird fucking shit in here. Joe already spoiled it with the girl masturbating randomly. It's not a hot scene. Like she's like a good-looking woman and all that, but it's just a very weird scene. Like it makes zero sense. Bunch of dudes are around, but they're not. They're like I don't know. She's in a Jeep in the middle of the field just jerking it and flicking the bean and everything, and then these guys are standing around. It's fucking weird. $4 million budget, if you can believe it, and it made 386,000. So, woof, that was a miss.
I mean, this isn't a good movie, but it's better than Diary. I'll give it that. The CGI is atrocious in this. This is probably the worst CGI of any of Romero's films. Um, but yeah, man, it's a slight step up from his previous installment. I liked the soldier characters, like, especially like the main soldier guy, and I just wish they completely negated the island shit because the island stuff was stupid. It was dumb. It was like, why do we care about a family, like these two families fighting like over this this land or this island in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? I thought it was cool the way they tied in the diary and survival thing there, and I think they should have just went there with the soldiers surviving on the road or something like that. But they didn't, and this is what we have to deal with here. Yeah, it's not great, but I do appreciate that they actually gave us a lot of zombies in this one. Um, apparently zombies can ride horses now. We got that scene, which was something. Yeah, man, it's a shame that these last two movies are the end of Romero's career. I wish we could have got something better, but I think it's what happens with age. You start to lose a little bit of your touch, and I think it shows, unfortunately, here with Romero's last two movies.
Yeah, I agree that this is better than Diary in a lot of ways. The You get more zombies. I think the kills are pretty inventive, so that was cool. When they did practical effects, I thought they were actually pretty good. Unfortunately, they didn't always do practical effects and gave us some of the worst fucking CGI ever put to screen. Is it like really, really done? It would have improved the movie so much more had they just attempted to do most of it practical, because I understand some of it they couldn't do. The story is so. I enjoyed the characters, like the main group especially. There were definitely some weird moments, like you guys said. She's like kind of just off masturbating, doing it in front of everyone. Now, I would understand if people kind of ignored it if we're like deeper into the apocalypse, but this is still pretty early on in the apocalypse, so like they shouldn't be that level of comfort shouldn't be there like quite yet. It's like a really weird scene. I don't even know why he included it. Um, there's also some plot points, like we're meant to think that the girl on the horse is like the daughter of one of the gangs, but it's actually like the twin sister of the daughter. And it's just like a weird kind of plot point there, and the whole battle between the two with like factions was also kind of odd, but I enjoyed it. Like I can't say I hated it. I was having fun watching it at times, and it's definitely not his worst film. And yeah, there's definitely some good stuff about it. It's just overall, especially compared to his original classics, it definitely falls short. And I also don't love the whole idea of they're trying to feed the zombies animals to replace humans, because there's just no fucking way that like zombies might, yes, also eat animals, but they're also going to go on instinct. Like when zombies attack, they're still going to go after people too. They're going to go after basically the first source of food that's in front of them. So I don't know. It was a weird film. So that's survival did.
Yeah, I'm at a 2 out of 5 on this one. Like I originally, when I watched it, I gave it a 2.5, but the further I get away from it, the less I like about it. So yeah, 2 out of 5 for me on this one. And yeah, man, it's this second part of his zombie trilogy was pretty weak.
Yeah, I'm on a 2 out of 5. Slightly better than the 1.5 out of 5 for Diary, but yeah, like you said, it's a bummer that this is the last films we get from him. But can't take away all the great shit he did prior to that. So, oh well.
Definitely not.
I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I had fun watching it. It just wasn't at the level that you would expect Romero would be. But I think, yeah, he lost his touch there in his final years, and a lot of people unfortunately do. It's like you watch wrestlers who go past their prime and they fucking give you atrocious matches. It's the same thing in filmmaking. I think eventually you're just too old for a shit, and you should just be a mentor and not necessarily a filmmaker. So 2.5.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have gone through the entire horror career of George A. Romero. Gentlemen, what do we want to say here? I mean, overall, I think George had a great career, obviously, an iconic career. He created the modern day zombie. Obviously, Night, Dawn, and Day will always be regarded as, one of the great, not just greatest, like zombie trilogy of all time, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Just three absolutely amazing and fantastic movies. He will always be remembered, of course, for his work as the father, the godfather of zombies. So, yeah. What do you guys got?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, he's got a couple sninkers, right? And it's
They
unfortunate,
all
but
do. They
overall,
all
yeah.
do, usually.
But overall, his career is phenomenal, man. Like I can count off the top of my head like 3 amazing fucking movies, 6 really fucking good movies, like 4, okay, that's out of 19 total, plus like some other bullshit that they keep adding to Letterbox. Like that's legit filmography, man, and not a lot of filmmakers can say that. And then on a personal level, he's my favorite director, and he, like I said, made me the horror fan I am today because he just opened the floodgates when I saw Dawn of the Dead, and here we are now.
Yeah, I mean, Romero's my favorite director of all time. Even though I gave a lot of his films kind of a low score, his top ones are so fucking iconic and so important to my like my horror love and my love for movies in general that he's always going to be my favorite. Like I don't think it can be topped just because of the nostalgia and my feelings towards his movies and everything like that. It's yeah, it's a shame that they're not all great, but that's just the way it is. Of the 3 retrospectives we did, like we had Stuart Gordon, who I thought was probably the most consistent out of the 3, but he didn't have like the monster bangers that Craven and Romero had, whereas those two had some of the most important films in film history and some honest stinkers. It's but that's directors who take risks. The Romero especially, some of those movies are very fucking out there, man. Like Martin's a very out there movie. The Crazies is pretty out there. Even fucking the amusement park is, he really kind of put himself out there. And even and I hate to say it, but Diary of the Dead, the idea, like he tried to tackle kind of like the zombie genre in a modern light. He just I guess didn't understand the modern era. And but I appreciate the attempt, even though it really failed. So I love Romero. He's great.
Alrighty. Well, obviously, I think we can all agree our top three is probably the Dead trilogy, right? His original Dead trilogy.
Oh
So
yeah,
I guess
easily.
I guess non-zombie wise, now what is your favorite Romero movie?
Uh, right now, currently, it's The Crazies, but I didn't get an opportunity to rewatch Martin before this, and I pulled the trigger and ordered that freaking second sight 4K special edition for 65 fucking dollars, which it was $85 at the con, so I'm glad I didn't buy it. So I'm gonna rewatch that and see if it takes place of the fourth best. But right now, as it stands, is my top 5 is Dawn, Night, Day, The Crazies, Martin, and Land of the Dead.
Righty. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Creep Show. I don't know if that's cheating because it is technically an anthology, but he did direct them all. So yeah, I Creep Show is is my favorite after that. If we're going to, since Todd gave his top 5, I'll give my top 5 as well. Obviously, I would go dawn, day, night. Even though I rated night 5, I know 5 out of 5, but that's more about the iconicness of it. But yeah, I would go dawn, day, night, creep show, and Martin.
Yeah, and I'm almost the same way. I would go dawn, day, night, creep show as well as my favorite, and then I'd go probably land just because I love the zombie genre so much, but with a strong contender in Bruiser because I really fucking love that movie as well. It's just Land is the zombies, so that's more the genre I'm into. But Bruiser, kind of makes there could be a case for Bruiser.
Righty. And I think we can all agree our least favorite is Diary
Absolutely.
of the Dead.
Well,
All right.
of his horror ones anyway.
Of his horror, yeah.
There's always Vanilla is actually worse.
Iron City Gas Kickers is pretty awful too.
Yeah, that's pretty bad too.
Which I know that's his last movie, but it was just like a 20-minute short, according
Yeah.
to this. I saw.
Well, I mean, it came out after. It
Oh,
has
okay.
it has Sarah from Day of the Dead in it, so it came out after 85
Okay.
release.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's bad
It
though.
was like a amusement park situation where it was released like
Yeah,
way later.
I think he was
type
trying to make
thing.
like a TV show, if I remember correctly, and this was like a pilot that didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and we have to mention his Juice on the Loose, which is in retrospect not a. It's all about like OJ's promising life and career.
Yeah, which in this movie you'd be like, this guy's fucking great. What's he been up to?
You're right. Yeah, it just didn't age well, I guess, but still a cool document. It's like a well-made documentary if you end up watching it.
All righty, folks. So I think that's gonna pretty much wrap up our George Romero retrospective. Do you guys have any last thoughts, or is that it?
No, rest in peace, George.
Yeah, no, rest in peace, and glad I got to visit his locations over the weekend, and it was cool to finally get to talk all about him and kind of live, George's aura a little bit there. So it's cool.
For sure. Yeah. No, I mean, this is definitely different. Like the fact that we planned this perfectly, that we were able, right? Literally we all got home just yesterday from literally being in some of the Romero's most iconic, filming locations is really, really special. And that's really cool. I think that's what makes this probably now my favorite retrospective we've ever done, just because of that, being able to, step foot in, the places where George, filmed in and created some of his most iconic works. It's really cool, really special, and definitely something I'll never forget. And being able to obviously see his bust too, that they dedicated to him in the Monroeville Mall. He'll always live on, through all of us, the horror fans, and in the Monroeville Mall, hopefully as long as it stays open. So yeah, that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, for our retrospective. Once again, rest in peace, George. We miss you dearly. Now, of course, as you know, we've been doing retrospectives every single year, so we can announce who we will be doing a retrospective on next year. Steve, drum roll, please. Who's it going to be?
Charles Band. 350 movies from Full Moon.
Jesus Christ.
No.
I thought you like switched it on me. I'm like,
yeah,
oh my
no,
God,
can you
no.
imagine? Fucking the
No,
guy
no,
has
no.
like so many goddamn movies. No, seriously, it's going to be. We only do deceased directors, which is why if you're thinking like, is it Carpenter's turn yet? Well, no. Thankfully, he's still with us. So we will be doing another legendary director with some top class movies, and it's Toby Hooper.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah, dude. I'm excited about that. He's got some underrated films in there, man. I'm excited to check him out.
I'm excited. Obviously, I've seen like most of his iconic stuff, but I probably haven't seen a lot of the deeper cuts. So I'm definitely intrigued.
Mortuary, Toolbox
Yeah.
Murders,
Funhouse, yeah.
Funhouse is a banger.
Yeah. So definitely start doing, folks. Start watching Toby Hooper movies. Get ready for our next year's retrospective. Probably be around the same time, I assume, next year. So yeah, get ready for it. In the meantime, let's move on to next week. What are we watching?
Well, it's my choice, and I'm switching things up a little bit. We're going with Paul Verhoeven's 2000 Kevin Bacon starring creeper named Hollow Man. So I'm excited. It's been years since I watched it, and I've been meaning to rewatch it for a long time. So why not?
Alrighty. Hollow Man. I watched that movie so much growing up, but yeah, it's been a long time since I see it, so I'll be excited to revisit that one as well. So go and check out Hollow Man, ladies and gentlemen, for next week's episode. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can also email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. But of course, the absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord. Completely free to join. Awesome community over there. It is linked over on our Instagram, or you could just send us a DM or an email, and we'll get you a link to join that Discord. Do not forget, important date coming up October 11th through the 13th, our Hocus Pocus event in Salem, Massachusetts. Going to be awesome. A lot of listeners are already planning to go from what we've heard. So yeah, we'll definitely try to plan. We're going to be very busy, but we'll definitely try to plan at least a dinner with you guys, and be able to hang out with you at the party and stuff like that as well. So come and join us. You can go to itsjustabunchofhalloween.com for all details and tickets for that. Tickets should be on sale June 13th to the public, but you can use code BunchOfFans24 in all caps if you'd like early access to those tickets. Also, don't forget, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app if you haven't already. That helps the podcast greatly. Or if you'd like to show some support, you can buy merch and rock some merch. We have a bunch of designs over on our TeePublic page. That's also linked over on our Instagram, or just search the Horror Squad Podcast on TeePublic and you will find us. I think that's about it, folks. Once again, thank you so much, George Romero, for the films you've made in your career. And this wraps up our retrospective on him. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Right.